recording. And we're recording. Together.
Forever.
Yes.
You're stuck with me.
Yeah. You know what else we're stuck with? Ilia Topuria's champion.
I was going to say bad judging. But,
oh, I mean, we can talk about that for sure, but man, I don't know what makes me more sad. At least Topuria is really fun to watch. I would hate if we had to watch Sal D'Amato sit there and fuck up, but he was actually on point today. Mm-hmm. I felt bad throwing Sal's name out there when he did well. I don't know who the judges were, but we're gonna talk about that in a second.
Oh, I have the scorecards pulled up.
Yes, there is one very suspect sounding judge name that I've never heard of before.
It was Hadi Muhammad Ali for me. He just stuck himself out with that. What was it? 30-27.
How you gonna do that, man?
Fakhretdinov. Yeah.
How you gonna do that? That's like
really should be able to ask them.
That's like me judging wrongly for someone named like Jamal Jackson. Like if your name is Muhammad Ali, whatever, you can't score wrongly for the very much like guy that sounds like someone you would be biased against.
Well, I think they're biased.
Or biased for.
Yeah.
Biased towards. But let's talk about the main so we could get that over with. What a performance from both guys. Max showed up. He did his thing. I think a lot of us were betting with our heart when we wanted to see Max win. But what I'm most impressed with is the fact that Topuria was able to knock out Max Holloway, who has never been knocked out before.
That is a feather in his cap. That is a leg to stand on. Now he's calling out Conor McGregor
a
for that
feather
big money
in his
fight.
weight, perhaps. What weight do you think he would fight Conor at?
I don't think it'll ever happen.
Walk around weight.
Speculate.
He's just talking.
He's just talking because
in all the languages.
Yes, and that's it. I mean, it's a great talking point. You know?
Yeah.
If you mention that you want to fight Conor McGregor, that is always going to like create a headline. You know.
Yeah.
That's gonna get you buzzing. It is like it's something that could potentially happen, but probably will never happen. It's just one of those things that we talk about, like, you know.
He said it. He said he's going to do it. He said he wants to. The ball's in Conor's court. We'll see if Conor is going to be too scared to do the fight, one of the 20,000 fights that people have offered.
You know, it's just one of those, like, safe call-outs.
Yeah.
It really is. It's just like, what's his name? Paul calling out Perreira, you know?
Yeah.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But it gets you in the headlines.
Exactly. So what did you think about the fight itself? Ilia Topuria took on Max Holloway. I felt like Max had a good game plan. He was doing really well with the distance control and keeping Topuria at bay, trying to pop in and out with his strikes, using those like stabs, and he was like attacking the hip bone a lot.
Yeah,
like
that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, it was like that. It was either a push kick to the hip or a push kick to the knee. But we see that a lot with like the John Joneses and everything, and people can call it controversial, but he was doing it in a way where it was really stopping Topuria from coming forward, and it was working until it didn't.
Until the second round. I thought the first round was great, and I thought that it was, you know, really setting the pace and the precedent for the direction that the fight could have gone in. Max was really utilizing his range. He was keeping Topuria out of that boxing range that Topuria likes. Topuria, he made him, you know, shoot in and try and clinch up. He made him, you know, make adjustments. But what Topuria did in the second round, it's just that was his game plan the whole time. You know, he wants to get into that like pocket boxing range and use his power and put Max Holloway away.
Yeah, he did really well with being patient, waiting for his chance to get in there. And then the takedown was interesting too. I thought it was really smart of him to mix in that takedown, get him to the ground, and then this becomes like a feint, just that level change to kind of stick him, where you have to sprawl if you see the shot coming, but then getting ready to small makes you stationary. So then you're there to be hit on the way in. And that's kind of what you saw in the highlights. He was doing a good job of just kind of bouncing up and down, feinting that level change, getting Max to either swing or counter or plant his feet a tiny bit. And then he was able to explode up into a punch or explode up into a combination. I thought that little pull punch was really fun. That's like one of those things you learn in Muay Thai, like your first fancy move that you learn in Muay Thai, where the person's standing like this, you pull the glove and then punch right through the center. You don't see that often in MMA.
You don't see it in MMA.
Which is funny because we have like the fingerless gloves, so there's a lot more grabbing that you can do in there, but he was able to just hide it really well. It's like one of those things that you don't want to do too much, because as soon as you start reaching for something, someone can feint and come over the top, but he just did a really good job of hiding all of his attacks, coming in. He took some damage as well. We saw him limping on his way out of the cage, so Max's game plan was definitely working, but I can't believe that Topuria has the power to put Max Holloway out after all the guys that he's fought. All the guys he's fought that haven't been able to do that are known knockout artists.
Yeah, it's I know Max is, big for the division. He carries a lot of power, but and there just seemed to be a size difference, but the power ended up being the difference.
Yeah.
Topuria he has this very explosive, short, stocky, powerful stance, and he utilizes it really well. We've seen him, put people out that we haven't seen before. He did the same to the Great, and a lot of people, well, me included, wondered if, it wasn't the fact that he had been knocked out previously and, the short turnaround. But, I mean, Topuria's power is undeniable at this point.
Yeah. What did you think when he backed up what he said he was going to do and pointed to the ground in the first 10 seconds? Nothing. You thought nothing of it?
No.
Neither did Max. He was like,
I'm not stupid.
I already told you I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
You don't make the rules here. I make the rules. It was disappointing to see. Everyone wants that for Max, or wanted that for Max, for him to get that shot at gold. And maybe we'll see that at 155. Maybe we'll see him move up to lightweight. He looked good against Gaethje at lightweight for the BMF. I wouldn't be mad at it. There's a lot of fun fights that you can make for him up there, and he seems like he's not deterred from still being an active fighter, still being a prize fighter. He seems still, I guess, like he wants to continue. He wants to keep putting on great performances.
Well, I think he's in a great position, honestly. I know it's not the result that he wanted to, but what he's done is he's built up this, legend, this energy around himself, where people will always want to see him fight. People will always root for him. He's a very likable fighter. He's easy to get behind. And honestly, he can really call his shots. If he wants to go to 55, I'm sure he can pick whatever fight he wants at featherweight, to be honest. I think he's in a really good position, and I don't think this takes away from, his legacy. I don't think it takes away from what he's capable of. I think that, as long as he wants to and willing to, he can still be fighting at the highest level. And, who knows what's next? He can always reinvent himself.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what's next for him. And then, like you said, Ilia was calling out some big names. He called out Islam Makhachev. He said that if Islam Makhachev has the ability to get submitted, he will submit him.
Well, and Makhachev's also talking about going up to 170. So this is another one of these fights that, he's saying these things and he's getting people talking, but Like, the reality is we don't know if that will ever happen. I think that could potentially happen. I mean, it's exciting. I don't know that he could submit him. I think Makhachev is big for 155. I think he would do well at 170. So we'll see. We'll see. I think it opens up the door for a lot of fun, potential kind of super fight type fights.
Yeah. Do you think that Volkanovski gets the shot again? They brought him in. He like snuck up in there. And I feel like they're going to give him the shot just because he didn't really... I mean, I'm still on the fact that he got knocked out so quickly before he got that title shot. Like, it was such a quick turnaround. He did a solid, and he ended up eating it. And I feel like it's deserved, but how do you think people are receiving that might be the next possible title shot?
I think people could, because of the way it ended, I think people, could potentially be a little bit bothered by it or have something to say about it or against it. However, I'm completely for it. I think that, that kind of turnaround after a big knockout and, stepping in on short notice, stepping in a weight class above, I think those are all really amazing things, but they're very dangerous.
Yeah.
And I think that I'd like to see what that fight would look like with a full camp, not on short notice after his head has been rested, and really see what Alexander can do. I think he's another one of those fighters that can call his shots.
Yeah, he's been doing it. He's been helping.
Yeah,
the company on his back.
He has been a company man. Give that man what he wants. Give him his title shot. And he's another one of those fighters where, like Max, like a Whittaker, they're really easy to get behind. They're really easy to cheer for, and they're exciting fighters. So I always want to see them fight.
Yeah. After that performance, though, I don't have a lot of faith in Volkanovski's ability to beat him. It's so sad. Like,
I know what you're saying.
Dude, because I was so stuck on, man, he just got knocked out. Anytime there's a knockout, I think it's easier for fans to go, okay, that was a lucky shot, as opposed to that was a strategic dismantling because of the nature of a knockout. You're throwing something, you just happen to hit the chin when it's there, when it's available. They weren't able to block, but there's so much involved. And when it comes to someone who's able to, like, take someone down, get on top of them, pound on them, get the submission, that always seems more like a strategic, like, this is what's going to happen every time they fight, as opposed to a knockout. There seems to be a little more luck involved. But after these two performances together, I'm like, man, this guy knows what he's doing. He's setting this shit up.
I agree with that. I think that Topuria is on another level, and I think he's just getting better. I think that, we may see a repeat of the first fight, but I still want to see it.
Yeah. I want to see it too. Give him his shot, damn it. I want to see Volk dressed as an old man again. I want to see the whole build up.
He's great. I love it.
I just love how he doesn't take himself too seriously, but he does at the same time. He's still very much a martial artist, and he wants to fight the best in the world, and he wants to prove himself. So I'm excited about that possibly happening in Australia. That could happen. That goes down in February, the Australia card. So it seems like they're working towards that. Be a great headliner. And, yeah, should be a good time.
For one of them.
Yeah, for somebody. Yeah, Ilia Topuria, he's a monster, though. Like, the fact that he can speak so many different languages. Like, if you watch any of his press conferences and there's people speaking at him in different languages, and he's just going from English to Spanish to Georgian to Portuguese or whatever the fuck he speaks. Like, I feel like he does the same thing with his fighting style, where he is so fluent in every art that comes with MMA. The fact that he started his career as a grappler, getting all these submissions, and then said, you know what, I'm gonna be a knockout artist now, and then speaks the striking language perfectly all of a sudden. It's really wow.
No, he's very impressive.
Yeah, he is the Shevchenko of the male divisions. We're going to start doing that. Say, assigning people the male this, the male that.
Yeah. I want to see his dance skills, though. I want to see if they're comparable to Shevchenko.
Oh, well, they're going to have to compete with Merab.
He's a Spaniard. I want to see some, what is it?
He's a Spaniard and a Georgian, and we saw Merab get down. Yes. We saw Merab get down with his little traditional dances, so you know he got the moves. All right, Ilia, we're fans.
Yeah, you can't not be. Yeah. It's just hard when they fight the people that you've been rooting for years and years and years. No, it is hard. It is hard.
It is. We're fans, damn it. Oh, man. Well, one guy who it is hard to be a fan of, but he's really been working on himself. I don't know. I kind of believe it. I'm also in denial, but Khamzat Chimaev, man, he has been working on himself, and dude, the squeeze that he has must be insane. How did Darren Till survive training with this guy?
Well, have we really heard from Darren Till since?
He ruined him.
We don't know how he's doing.
Are you okay?
Blink twice. Tell us.
Reach out.
Let us know.
Reach out to
Ever since his Instagram got hacked, I haven't seen him since.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What was there a thing that got posted that showed people it got hacked?
No, it just all of a sudden
just disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just gone.
Come back. We miss you. I've seen him on Twitter recently. He's pretty funny on Twitter.
I stay away from Twitter.
Yeah, good
job.
job.
It's a deep, dark place.
It's
I
smart.
just don't like, I'll get in there and then I'm promptly reminded why I don't like being here. A couple of times recently, though, I've gone and looking for something, and I've gone down the rabbit hole of these like bully fights or street fights or school fights, like in class or like in the like hall bathroom fights. They're gnarly.
I hate that shit. I'm so happy I grew up in a time where you couldn't just record people getting in a fight in school without having like a huge camcorder.
No, it's insane. And I don't like watching it, but like here I am 20 videos later and I'm looking for more.
It's so easy. It's so easy to get wrapped up in.
It really is. It's just, oh my God. I am not jealous of kids these days.
No. I'm happy that our video cameras were too big to sneak into school when we were kids. Whittaker came out. Chimaev just didn't give him a chance to start.
No,
in that fight.
He was on him, immediately shot in, immediately started covering the hips and just strategically dismantling him. And Whittaker was defending well. He was doing his best. And I thought that if he could have got out of that round, we would have been able to see him keep the range. And, there's always that like feeling out period. And when you don't get that feeling out period, you need another round for it.
Yeah. It's like, okay, this time I'm going to circle first.
Reset.
I'm going to circle. I'm going to sprawl. Maybe I'll flash a little something so you don't just bulldoze me next time. But he was getting close and I was looking at the clock as he's getting ridden. And I'm like, oh, he's almost there. And then he just snatches on this arm and immediately Whittaker taps.
Yeah. So if we think about it, I had braces, right? And I still have to wear a retainer. If I don't wear a retainer after a week, like my teeth have shifted. So the mouth is pretty pliable, and it's just one of those things where he just got right on the teeth and pulled, and it buckled the teeth back. Ugh. Can you imagine the pain of that?
No.
Can you imagine?
No.
I've in training, I've felt that pressure before, and I immediately tapped before it got that bad.
Yeah.
But to have just an immediate like break from the jaw is insane.
Mm-hmm. And even in training, usually if someone feels that, because you'll be able to feel the pressure on your arm too. And Chimaev, he was talking about that, like he felt something happen, but he's just squeezing to win. Like the difference between training and in a fight is that you're trying to pop the guy's head off.
You don't care if your training partner gets home okay.
Yeah, you don't care if they're like talking like this for the rest of their life,
No. He's fine.
Hey, tap, bitch. And that was crazy how fast that set in, how fast he was able to do that much damage. This guy's forearms must be made of steel.
Yeah. I mean, it
Or
looks
something
like...
else. What were you doing on that year off?
Were you in the testing pool? Were you in some obscure country somewhere where the testers can't get?
Where they would be very much in danger if they found you. I wonder.
Weird. Just a theory of ours.
I wonder. Yeah. It's disappointing, but also really impressive. And I feel like people are calling for a title shot because who's going to want to fight this guy after he did that to Robert Whittaker?
It's a short list. It's a short list, but you know what? I know one man for the job, and that's Strickland. That's who I want to see. I know Strickland was told that he's going to get the title shot next, but I personally would really like to see Strickland Chimaev.
I mean, if there's one person, someone wouldn't mind their teeth getting popped out. Fair.
Face. Either way, they're like...
You could break that guy's jaw? Like, please. Cool. Please, cool. Go ahead. You will be the favorite in this matchup. Be very different from fighting Robert Whittaker, at least.
So, yeah, it's hard. It's hard because you have somebody who, like, really plays the heel and somebody who really plays the good guy. So you're like, okay, we're rooting for that guy, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, it's not hard to see that, but it's like, who do you root for in that case?
I don't know. I mean,
it's an opportunity to, like, win some people over.
Yeah, I guess. But
steal their haters.
It's kind of one of those ones where you're just like, oh, let's see them both get hurt. Not permanently, just for the sake of entertainment.
I bet they would be best friends after that fight, too.
Hey, probably.
They'd be in the hospital together.
Yeah. Darren Till would get jealous.
Oh, my God, the drama. I can't wait. Make it happen.
Just like comes in dressed as a nurse. Tries to smother one so he could be the other one's friend. Yeah, man, it's a wild one. I would love to see that fight, Strickland versus Chimaev, but I'd also be into him fighting for the title. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's just the thing for me is that he has had so much inconsistency, such long layoffs, and I know that he just took out the number one guy Whittaker, but I just in my mind I still would like a little bit more order in the title shot thing.
Well, it's been just kind of thrown around for a while now.
No, that's fair.
Like everyone's like random people have been getting shots. We have a flyweight that just got signed who's getting a shot. So there's been a lot of just kind of chaos in the whole picture. And I don't know if Strickland getting the shot would bring order to it or if it would just add to that heap of chaos. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair to say.
But at the same time, he never got his immediate rematch. So
yeah, and I think it's deserved.
Yeah. I'm trying to see. Drickus, he actually sounded off. And
what did he say?
Oh, okay. Drickus getting saucy. All right. Feeling really sorry for Rob. He looked super ready, but this is the fight game. Well done on a good performance, Khamzat. That being said, I can't wait to take your O. So Drickus is down. He's ready. He's down to clown with all that chaos.
Yeah.
The chaos of the match.
And I mean, I would imagine him to be too. He definitely doesn't shy away from challenges. Calling out Pereira. Why do I always fumble that name? Pereira. Yeah, I think he's up for the challenge, and I think that would be an interesting fight. I could see him, doing what he does to all the other fighters he's fought and really taking them out of their game.
Yeah, that'd be fun to see what Drickus pulls out of his herky-jerky sleeve. Because it could go one of two ways. He could get jumped on, just like Robert Whittaker again. He could get like smothered and taken advantage of. We all see the holes in Dricus's game, but he has this invisible energy that just throws people off.
Yeah.
I feel like he's just really freaking strong, and he doesn't hesitate on things. And that in itself can just make things that shouldn't work. And that's what he's done in every one of his wins.
Yeah.
He's just flipped over the table, like broken all the rules and gotten the job done. So yeah, I want to see how this plays out, because like Khamzat, you know what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Like there's no hiding it. And Dricus is just like a mystery box.
Yeah, he throws everything at you and it works.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm jealous. It's absolutely crazy. It's interesting to watch, and he's one of those people that I can't bet against anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, well,
he's probably gonna win, and you're not gonna be able to figure out how until it happens.
But just pick him.
Yeah, just pick him to win.
Pick him
to win at some point. Well, it sucks because we had like one really weird decision happen in the very beginning of the card, and I think that got people really nervous about how the rest of the card was going to turn out. But it was actually, I felt like the judging for the rest of the card was fair, but this first fight put everyone like on edge. And that was, what was the name of those guys?
It was Leal and Fakhretdinov.
Yes. That fight, people were going crazy. Basically, like, it wasn't that close of a fight. It was competitive, which is different. Rinat Fakhretdinov, he fought Carlos Leal. And Carlos Leal, he was not on home turf, but he did an amazing job at stuffing all of Fakhretdinov's takedowns, hitting, making him hurt. He definitely scored more in damage. He definitely like did a great job of just commanding the cage. And for me, I was seeing it 30-27, but I felt like maybe Fakhretdinov stole the last seconds of the last round. So I was like, it could be 29-28. They gave it 30-20, or one judge gave it 30-27 to Fakhretdinov, and the other one's 29-28. Both different rounds.
Yeah. So we had Mike Bell, we had Hadi Muhammad Ali, and we had David Leatherby. And nobody scored it the same, really. The only one that they had was everybody scored the last round for Fakhretdinov.
Okay, so that was the round that I was like, okay, he might have stolen the last round.
I didn't think it was enough to steal that last round,
I didn't either. I was just trying to keep my head like open for whatever might come.
For sure, because you always want to know the come from. We want to understand what they're seeing, what they're looking at, why they're scoring it this way. And that's... yeah, it's just one of those things. I thought, if anything, they could have given Fakhretdinov the first round.
Yeah,
because the way he was grinding and pressuring and kind of, stalling the action and having control time.
Oh, okay.
And then in the second and third round, Leal just pulled ahead with his power shots. And I mean, to Fakhretdinov's credentials. He just kept coming forward, and he was trying. But what Leal was doing was he was nullifying the takedown attempts. He was rolling with the punches, so he wasn't absorbing the damage of the punches. And Leal was just giving it back, giving it back. And Fakhretdinov kept coming forward, but
he was getting tossed around. He was getting ragdolled.
He was.
It was so frustrating to watch that fight. And then in your head, you're like, okay, this guy is obviously the favorite, Fakhretdinov, but this is a very convincing win. There isn't much that he's able to do to Leal before the final bell rung. And dude, like, he was landing lots of calf kicks. He was hitting like these beautiful clinch sweeps. The one thing I will say that maybe might have swayed a judge like Muhammad Ali, what is his name? Muhammad Ali is the fact that Leal had a ton of back knee.
How does that score?
And he looked like he was like made in a lab. So I'm like, okay, if you're someone who's coming in with biases already and you see this guy who looks kind of juiced out, maybe you're going to try to help your homeboy out. But I'm not saying it's terrible. Right. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell happened. Like, that's why we have a testing pool. Even if you bring someone in short notice, if they failed the drug test, then the fight gets overturned. You can relax, Muhammad. Like, you can relax Muhammad Ali Hadi. Like, the test will overturn the fight. You don't have to cheat and make it score for your boy Fakhretdinov. But it definitely seemed like that guy wasn't watching a fight because he scored a 30-27. And then you have Mike Bell and Dave Lathaby, who have scored fights forever. Like, we know those names. And they both got them different. So, again, it's like, what are you guys looking at? What are you guys looking at?
I wonder if it's just the different angle, like the different vantage point that each judge has, because everybody's, set on different points of the octagon. So maybe you're seeing something a little bit differently. Maybe you're seeing somebody's head go back a little bit more. Maybe you're seeing somebody stumble a little bit more, or maybe you're seeing somebody pressure more because of your vantage point,
Yeah, but let me see if the media scores are in here. The media scores, too, everyone scored it 29-28 or 30-27. Most people scored it 30-27 for Leal. And these guys are these are the people who are doing the press conference afterwards. They're actually in the arena. So they're not getting the same viewpoint that we're getting at home. And the fact that we're seeing this at home, the media people in the arena are seeing the same thing that we're seeing at home. It makes me think, what the fuck are the judges looking at?
The frustrating thing for me is that we keep having this conversation and we still don't know what to do to make it change.
Yeah. Well, we know what to do, but I don't know how to put it in action. Like, one thing that people keep saying that I think is a good idea is open scoring. Yeah. Because open scoring is going to make it so that if you're down 2 rounds, even if you whoop the person's butt. And there were moments that Leal, like, he got on the front head. He was, kind of in a clinch position. Maybe he would have gone for a choke. Maybe he would have gone harder for the knockout if he knew he was down 2 rounds and it was the last round. But a lot of times, like, it looked like he was fighting to finish the fight. So I don't know if that would help in this situation. Another thing people suggest is that you should have ex-fighters on the judging. I don't know if that's a great idea.
See, I like the idea of a more neutral party. I like fighters as refs. Mm-hmm. I do like that idea. I think that there needs to be just a little bit more criteria to become a judge. I like somebody who's involved in the sport, but ex-fighters, I don't think it's a bad idea, but I think that there is, again, an opportunity for bias. I think there's an opportunity for, not scandal. I don't want to say that, but there's just, there's a lot of like human emotion into that.
Yeah, it's like some judges might actually go too far to make it look like they're not being biased, and then some judges just won't care and they'll score it the way they think it's going. It's like you look at the verdict scores on the Max Holloway Ilia Topuria fight, and the verdict had Max up 2 rounds, and I'm like, really? Is that really what you guys saw? But there's a lot of fights where you could be scoring a fight who your ex-coach or one of your ex-teammates are related, or they are working with this person. It's really easy to have biases when you used to fight yourself. there's always going to be that connection. And the current judges now, a lot of times there will be a judge or a referee that used to train with someone, and their fighter is going into a fight, and you might not be able to make the connections via like Instagram or something, but they're supposed to excuse themselves from scoring that fight if there are biases that can get away. Do they actually say that? No. Like, I mean, we don't know. There's no way to like really mandate that, but this is what's supposed to happen. And I think a lot of times people just want to do that. They'd either go, oh, I'm a professional, I'm not going to do that, and still do it, or you know, they just do it.
Yeah. I mean, human error is always going to be a thing. What do you think about like AI judging?
No, what do
you think about that?
Have you heard of something called the smart cage? It's pretty dumb. For a name like the smart cage, it's pretty dumb. But I don't feel like there's a way to analyze it via stats. It's like the whole significant strike thing. Someone throwing like this, their significant strikes are going to be a lot softer than someone really putting the power into their punch and dropping the guy. But if you go, oh, well, this person threw more significant strikes, then they win, according to AI. So I don't really trust computers when it comes to that either. I just feel like we all have to get on the same page. And, one thing that I think would be very interesting, and someone on Twitter suggested this, but I've always thought this was a great idea, is if the judges actually had a press conference like the fighters and explained all of their decisions, because usually there'll only be a couple that people are confused about. Like, for instance, this card, we thought it was going to be a whole night of that. It was only that one fight, really. I don't think there was another one where people are like, wait a second. But that one fight, you have those three judges up before Dana gets in the room. Explain yourself. No one else saw what you saw, especially you, Mr. 3027. But you guys too, you should know better. You both scored different rounds. We have to know what criteria you were using to score those rounds for Fakhretdinov. And if they could at least verbalize what they were thinking, we can use that for the next time they fuck up. And then they could verbalize what they were thinking that way. And we'll go, well, that's funny because in the Fakhretdinov fight, you said that you used this criteria. So why are you using this criteria this time? And then we could catch him. Then we'd be like, gotcha, bitch.
Out of here.
Get out of here.
Bye.
Yeah, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know. So I think that might be the most sound way to really get to the bottom of these judging decisions, is just have them answer for themselves, because right now they don't have to answer to anyone.
Yes. You
can't overturn a fight. Like, it's just going to get thrown out. You can't try to get them fired. They just keep showing up. They're all grandfathered in, or they have like I don't know if they have a union or something, but they basically like take care of each other. So they're in there for good. The only person I've ever seen get kicked out of their position is Douglas Crosby.
Well, you're saying there's a chance. There is, it just takes one. It takes one person to get out of there, and then I think that it'll start raising alarms to get more people out. And I think that if we keep talking about it, if we keep bringing it up, if it keeps becoming such an issue, like, they can no longer ignore it.
I really like the press conference idea, and I really like the open scoring, because I think it'll make everything more visible as to what's going on.
Yeah, I agree with that. But in this case, it's like, okay, well, I don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
You're in the round and they're like, well, listen, this wasn't scored for you. And it can just be, it can be kind of confusing in that moment.
Yeah, I think there needs to be both, not just one.
Yeah.
I think the open scoring would help you know who to attack. This guy thought you lost both rounds, even though you dropped the guy and he couldn't take you down once.
Oh, did he?
But you got one more round to prove yourself. But having the press conference afterwards, I feel like that, not overnight, but in time, maybe a year of judges answering for the decisions that they've made. You see it in refs all the time. refs get a lot of heat for bad decisions, and they fix themselves. They fix the way they approach things with the eye pokes, with the groin shots, with like stopping a fight, or as opposed to pausing it and letting it continue. So the refs have more accountability.
You got it. You did it.
Than the judges. It's insane. They have less power, but more accountability.
Well, and their job is to keep us safe, so I appreciate them taking that so seriously.
No, I do too. And that's why I love the fact that you have people who train that are in there with you. But on the judge side, I think they should at least tell us what they were thinking when they write down their little numbers on the paper, because they are not seeing the same as the fans, as the media people, as everyone else is seeing. So that's our rant. That was about 40 minutes of
we'll see you on the other side, guys.
Complaining about judging. God.
We could go all day.
I get so heated.
I know.
I get so mad.
I know.
I get so mad. But one thing that I wasn't as mad as I thought I'd be was watching Shara win his last fight. Even though he is a horrible human being, it was a pretty cool knockout. He is like the worst.
He's not a fan of women.
As a person.
Not a fan of public displays of affection.
He's not a fan of that. He's
a big fan of unprovoked violence.
Yeah, huge fan. I mean, we're trash for watching it, but what are you gonna do? It's entertaining. I still feel like Shara Magomedov is very beatable, but he is able to just be weird and confusing.
He's so unpredictable.
Yeah. And that knockout that he got was friggin' awesome. Like,
I've never seen anything like it. He does. And that's why it's so hard to fight him, because you can't really get his timing, and you spend the round trying to get his timing and trying to make things work, and you just got to throw. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because he just throws.
Yeah.
And he beats to, what is he? He moves to the beat of his own drum. What's that saying?
Yeah, there you go.
But just, he throws everything, and it's so unpredictable, and it's a lot of power, a lot of movement. It's very unorthodox. So it's just hard to get that timing. So as an opponent of his, you just have to kind of say, fuck it. You just gotta go for it, and you've got to put him on his heels and stifle him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he likes to hit off the back foot, so that can throw people off, because as he's backing up, you're like, okay, this is my time to attack, and you come forward and he pushes you away, and it's always easy to get caught in that like weird rhythm where you feel like you're continually walking into their trap of disrupting your rhythm. So it's almost like you just got to say fuck it, like you said, just get hit, maybe wade forward, throw more than one, and you just can't get stuck looking for the perfect shot against Shara, because you're never going to find it. And I think that's what happened to Petrosian. I'm having trouble with 3 syllables
words
today. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah.
It happens.
That's what Petrosian started getting stuck in. He was looking for that perfect shot, and every time he would almost get to a point where he felt comfortable throwing something, he would stop short. You know, like he would set up that kick and then not throw it. And it's like, you just gotta throw it, man. Just throw. Who cares if it hits his arm? Who cares if it like skips off of his hip? Like, you just gotta get in there and make it dirty with someone like that. And I think he started to do that, and that's when he rushed right into that double back fist. Like that was crazy. But in his defense, nobody throws that. How do you prepare for something that has never been thrown?
It's a great question.
In the UFC.
It's a great question.
Never been thrown in his tape. Like, you're not going to be thinking, hey, he might throw a spinning back fist, but also you want to keep your other hand up just in case he throws a double spinning back fist.
Yeah, and afterwards, you know, when he was doing the cage interview, he's like, yeah, this is my move. We're going to call it after me. And we're like, nobody's ever going to do it. Nobody's ever going to be able to do that.
I might try it. I have a few moves up my sleeve that I've been hoping to debut in a fight eventually, but I'm willing to throw the Shara just to make him mad. He'll have to watch my highlights of getting
a woman.
Oh no! They'll censor my midriff so he can actually watch the highlight. Put a shirt on her before you show me that trash. But yeah, I might throw it just for that moment. It's pretty easy to do too. It's like when you hit the spinning back fist, not easy to do, but not easy to land, but the mechanics of it make a lot of sense.
They make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because you set up the spinning back fist, you got to get back to your stance eventually. So you can either keep going the way that you came when you connected, or you can spin back around to your stance. And instead of just spinning back around to a stance, he span back around to another punch. So it's kind of, I don't know. I feel like that would work nicely in my game too. I might have to start.
She spins, guys.
I'm stealing it. I'm stealing it, Shara. Thanks for sharing.
And make sure you give him credit after the fight.
I will. I hit the Shara Magomedov. Woo!
Do it really cute like that too.
He'll love it.
And he called out Izzy afterwards. Okay, I want to see that.
I'd love to see that.
I would really like to see that.
Yes, please. I mean, he's doing all the right things when it comes to keeping people's name or keeping his name in people's mouths. To promoting himself as a fighter. He busted out a new move. Like, he's doing all the right things. I feel like Izzy might take the bait.
Why not?
Yeah, because this guy, I'm not sure. Is he ranked yet?
I don't. Hold on. Let me.
But if he creeps up in the rankings, he looks very beatable to me. Like, when I see the top 10 of that division, he looks very beatable to me, but he could have this weird invisible thing that a lot of fighters have, where once you get in front of him and once you try to actually fight him and do the things that you train to do against him, he makes it really uncomfortable to do.
He is not ranked yet.
Not ranked yet. Okay, so that's a big ask. Maybe one more win.
But that'll get him ranked.
Maybe one more win. Definitely this fight will get him ranked for sure. So on Tuesday, we'll see what number he is. And I feel like Adesanya might take that bait, but he's probably going to have to wait another fight before he gets that. But, I mean, look at what happened with Khamzat. He was ranked, 13? He was ranked something low.
Yeah. And he was 13.
He was 13. He fought Whittaker at number 3. So he's going to jump the line so hard. This is something that could definitely happen with what we've been seeing so far.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll see what Shara gets, what Magomedov gets. And it was funny. He's like working on everything. He's working on his English too.
Well, he tried.
He tried. DC wasn't having it. He was like, anyway, let's look at that knockout.
Like, you have a translator right there. I appreciate it though. I mean,
you gotta try.
After a fight, you're so disoriented and there's adrenaline dump and all that kind of stuff. And you're so excited and you're trying to speak another language, and I mean, I give him props for that. That's not easy.
No, as a person who has failed at learning many languages, I haven't gotten that far. But as a person who's failed at learning many languages, the hardest thing is actually trying, is actually saying something. That's the hardest thing for me, unless I'm drunk. I think after a fight, I'd be even worse. I mean, everyone heard my Uso uma menina after my Brazil win.
I still clap.
You were like one of 2 people in the audience that clapped. You and my mom.
Your brother was there too. There were 3. Okay. There were 3 of us.
You are a menina, girl. Everyone was like, "You're a woman. You just beat up a menina. You are a mujer." Murier?
Mulher.
Murier.
Yes.
You are Murier.
I just reached 1,000-day streak on my Duolingo.
Wow.
I can now say hello and ask where the bathroom is in 3 different languages.
Dang. Okay, Ilia.
No biggie.
Yeah, let's go.
Yes.
Let's see how many questions you can answer. You can ask the question, but can you answer them?
Speak slowly. And I will too.
Yeah, so yeah, props to him for trying. In another couple fights we should talk about, Ankalaev got a win, and finally Dana is saying he's next in
They
line.
cannot deny him anymore.
Ugh,
They wish they could,
tried.
but they can't. No, they have
kept
been.
trying.
They have been, but they can't do it anymore.
Yeah, it's only deserved, you know. Like I was surprised that they didn't give him the shot earlier. After like his only really knock to not being champion is that he went to a draw with Jan.
The snoozer.
He
went to a snoozer.
But it's like, come on, like he should have won that fight. That was one of those fights where it's like, yeah, it's a draw because we like Jan Blachowicz, so yay. But also, it was probably Ankalaev's night.
Yes.
But because there weren't any big moments in that fight to make you just pitchfork and
the UFC can be a shady, grudgy motherfucker.
they don't like wrestlers either. They don't like the takedowns.
They don't, and yet they signed so many.
I know. It's like, what are you doing? You're sending mixed signals here.
you don't want them here, and then you get them here, and then you're mad when they're there.
Yeah.
And then you punish them repeatedly. It's a weird relationship.
Yeah, like that kid who talked to Dana at the press conference. He stood up and he was like, "Hey Dana, I am 9-0 and I am best fighter in wherever he was from." You look at his name and you're like, yeah, he's a wrestler. Yeah. He's a grappler. And Dana's
They're
like,
gonna love you.
He's like, let's see what you can do. He's like, you already know what he can do, and you hate it. You hate it. But watch him sign him, and then just to cut him a few weeks later after he makes a striker look boring.
They'll probably put him in the Contender Series.
Yeah, they're gonna put him in Korean Zombies fight night. He has a fight night. I guess it's some kind of like Contender Series or
Is it like
looking for a fight or
Road
something.
to the Octagon, probably.
Yeah, something like that. But Korean Zombie started his own promotion, and Dana said, "You're gonna get a fight over there, and if it's a good fight, then we'll bring you into the UFC, or maybe bring him into a Contender Series or something like that." But yeah, that's gonna happen. And his poor little dreams are going to be crushed when he realizes he has to learn how to throw a punch.
But you know what? He was living it up. He got up on stage during the presser, and then they showed him again during the fight.
Oh.
So he's, I almost lost that. That's expensive. Don't do that.
Stay up there.
I need you. So, I mean, either way, whatever happens, I think that, I love that he called a shot. I love that he, saw an opportunity to make something, to make a connection, and he made it in the right way.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with him. But going back to Ankalaev, it was he said that he wasn't going to throw any or go for any takedowns in the fight. He didn't. It was competitive, but he did his thing. He outstruck a striker. So that's always impressive. And now he has a huge win streak in the UFC, huge win streak in his career, and he's next in line for the light heavyweight belt. So good job, Ankalaev, which as he should. How do you think he matches with Alex Perreira?
I think he should probably go for takedowns.
No.
I think that whole not going for takedowns thing, I think for this fight, go for takedowns.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. The thing is, Alex Perreira, he's fought a lot of guys who have decent takedown ability, but they haven't been able to do it.
Yeah.
So you got to wonder what he brings to the table that's so much different from every other striker, from Rakic, from all these guys. And you have to think it's power, right?
I think from what I saw in his previous fights, I think he has this ability, a lot like, some of the fighters that we talk about like Dricus du Plessis. He just has this ability to keep the fight at his pace and fight the fight that he wants.
Yeah.
And it's an energy, it's a superpower kind of thing that he has. And of course, we've seen Pereira be susceptible, like especially in like the first, second round, to other person's game plan while he's trying to like figure you out. He leaves himself open. So if I were Ankalaev, I would come out really strong, really set precedent with my game plan, and try and get him out early.
For sure, yeah. His draw against Blachowicz, if you look back to when Pereira fought Blachowicz, he went to a split decision. So I think they're going to be really evenly matched when it comes to just overall game plan. And I can't wait to see that fight. It's going to be the biggest test for Pereira, I think, because this is that one guy that everyone was like, all right, enjoy the Pereira era, because once Ankalaev gets there, it's going to be over. So that's kind of what people are worried about. This guy has basically all the tools that we haven't really seen him deal with yet, because even though the guys that he's beaten with takedowns, they don't have the takedowns at the same skill level as someone like Magomedov Ankalaev. And size. He's big, he's strong, he has great striking too. So that's going to be a fun test for Pereira, and we'll see if that happens soon. But yeah, our homie Lerone.
Oh my gosh. Too. So this was the type of fight that could put Lerone into the conversation of like, he's getting closer and closer to a title. Yeah. It was either going to be a really big learning lesson for him, or it was going to catapult him. And I think that he really passed that test.
He did. He really did. And it was getting scary a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
It was getting a little hairy.
There were some moments.
Yeah. It was getting a little, round one, there was crazy back and forth, but then he got hurt at the very last second. And luckily, the ref didn't jump in right away. He let it play out. And he's able to survive and then come back. Like we saw that in the Barboza fight, too. Like he's able to deal with some adversity and then come back and get the win. So I feel like Lerone, he definitely has the ability to capture the belt and keep it, just because he makes those adjustments that a lot of fighters aren't able to make once they kind of become the nail for a second.
No, I love the way he handles adversity.
Yeah.
Every time you think he's, kind of at a point where most fighters would kind of dwindle and fade, he comes back. Yeah. And he capitalizes off of it. He's not just surviving. He's countering, and then he's in a dominant position, as we saw in like the third round, especially.
Yeah. He was able to just keep flipping the board over. Ige had all the fight IQ going into this. He was making really smart decisions, but Lerone was just able to eke out that win. And he's gonna go back to the drawing board. The thing is, sometimes I feel like when you have an undefeated fighter and it's a close fight, it goes to the undefeated fighter. Like it's
like a veteran rule.
Yeah, it's like the champ rule. Like if it's a close fight, or if it's a close round, it goes to the champ. Yeah. I feel like with undefeated fighters, the close rounds go to the undefeated fighters. And it's not necessarily fair. And I feel like Dan Ige has been in this position a lot, where because he's the vet, because he's the guy who's been there for however many years in this spot, in this top 10 spot, a lot of times he'll lose the close fights that he might have won if he was undefeated. And it's just kind of something that happens. But Lerone was able to benefit from that, because we saw the scoring in the first fight. It's always a chance that you get screwed on something, But I felt like it was fair.
I thought that it was good judging, to be honest. I wasn't concerned about that one. But you never know.
Yeah. The last fight we wanted to talk about before we go to our bonus is the Robeski versus Orolbai, the crazy fight of the night fight.
Ooh.
See, this thing, like this fight was not on my radar at all. I saw those two guys and I was like, I don't really know them. I'll catch this fight before I go and watch the pay-per-view. And that fight was crazy.
It was so back and forth. It was so much fun. I don't think I remember to breathe the whole time
No.
I was watching. I was like, oh my God. I just kept thinking, I was like, man, they're going to be recovering for a while after this fight.
Oh, it was yeah. They're going to be like in the same hospital on the gurneys, taking selfies with each other, like that kind of fight.
Yeah. I love after a fight like that, the embrace, the show of respect and admiration towards each other. It's just when after you've been in a war like that, I don't think there's any animosity. There's no energy left. You just have to really like appreciate what you just created.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
It was masterful. There were so many just reversals. There were so many good things being done by both fighters. There was damage done. There were adjustments made. The kicks from which one was it? The kicks from Orolbai, the Robeski's like head movement, the way he was able to just like defend the takedowns, get in, land his shots. It was such a good back and forth fight. And then at the end when he almost drops him, he survives somehow. Who's the ref? I don't know the ref's name, but it was
Was it Ribeiro?
I don't know.
Was it Vitor Ribeiro, Shalin?
Yes, I think it was.
The man.
Yes.
That man was the man back in the day. Watching him back in Pride.
That's why he said, if he dies, he dies. Because homeboy was messed up. Like, I thought I was watching a murder. After he got dropped and he rolls over and his entire face is covered in blood and his eye is swollen shut and he's just holding on for dear life. But then he gets a sweep on the ground. He gets on top. He's like hitting him. He's like almost looking for submissions, kind of in between looking for submissions and trying to survive and hit. It was such a crazy round, especially the last round. It was such a crazy fight. So yeah, that was awesome. I'm so happy they got the bonus. They got the money because they deserved it. Yeah, they left it all out there. Well, that's all I got for this week's Two Straws. But we got more for you in the bonus.
Yeah, see ya over there. Lots to talk about.
Yeah, make sure you make sure you join.
Join now.
Join now so you can listen to it now, or you can listen to it in 2 days with everyone else. It's up to you. But support the pod. Join us now, and we'll see you in a few seconds.
Bye.